on Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers. It's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Hello, this is City Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski for another 1 hour segment of Taxpayer Hotline. The number is on the screen, 870-1284, and the rules are very simple. Any subject you can talk about, anything at all. Just keep it in the bounds of good taste and try not to get personal. And with that, we'll start the show. And like I say, you can any subject you want to talk about. And looks like I'm going to be going solo today. DJ is a little tied up back at Cat TV, and with the weather being like it is today, I'm surprised. You know, things it seem like we're right back in winter real quick. And we had a pretty good spirited debate last week, and a couple of subjects were, someone had asked about the fuel prices, and just saw it on the news. I think it's, they were saying we now pay 50 cents on the gallon in state taxes. So you can see why a lot of times when you're riding around town, compared to out of state, and you'll see that our taxes in Pennsylvania are a little bit higher. But as a wise man once told me, one way or the other, each state will get their money for whatever, you know, for road repair, whatever, either way they can, whether it's through fuel or registrations. Some states have a license on cars, a special levy, like. Oop, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, this is DJ. I'm sorry I can't be there today, but my coworker is ill, and I'm watching everything myself at the studio.
Oh, you are? Okay.
But I wanted to give you a call and start this thing off and say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, we'll miss you, DJ. You stimulate my brain up here.
Oh, okay.
That takes a little doing, though.
Sorry I couldn't make it. I've also been given reports that your Ustream is down, so you might want to have Mike check into that.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. I'm checking. It's not on the air, so I'm just letting you know, and I'll get off the line so other people can call.
Well, you don't have a question?
I have lots of questions, but none appropriate for on air.
Oh, come on. How's things down there? Pretty good?
Things are going good at CAT. It looks like we're going to make it another year, and we're chugging forward. It's going good. Oh, you're online now. Wow. Feedback. I can't turn the audio off.
Mike must have got that, huh?
I'll see you.
Hey, if a DJ's listening, I see where, I was going to ask him, I see where cable TV is talking about raising the fees again and doing some program changing. I was going to ask him if he was aware of any of that and maybe how they're planning on doing it. I know that's a sort of subject with a lot of the taxpayers. It seems like every time we get settled down and get used to it, they raise the fees on us, or now they want to levy a special fee on sports. I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it. Maybe we can. I've always, tried to get somebody on the show from Time Warner, but they're pretty elusive. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Cash.
How you doing?
This is Jamie, LISC.
Pardon?
This is Jamie, LISC. I watch your show.
Oh, okay.
And I watch it on Channel 9. And I haven't punched with my cable this past weekend.
What happened to your cable?
The cable, the cable box like CO something, caffeine.
Yeah.
And it got that fat spit today on my DVR in my living room.
Okay, so you got the show pretty good today, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a question or anything? You got anything you want to ask?
What do you think about this cable company? They're going to change to Charter.
Yeah, that's what we hear. They haven't said that for sure. It's going to become Comcast probably first, and then they'll spin us off.
Right.
But I think they're going to raise our fees this year. They were talking about again.
Really?
Yeah, there's something about the sports package and
all the movie channels I got too. We have any of those?
yeah, you got them? Because I think they're going to raise, my mother's reading it out of the newspaper, but it's hard to get a hold of these people up at Time Warner, you know.
Right, and it's been sold out too. Anyways, I just found out outside today this morning.
What's that?
The Charter's going to buy for it.
Oh, really?
And Time Warner is for sale.
Yeah, Comcast can't have us because they'd be too big.
Right.
And so they got to spin us. So I'm not too. I haven't heard too much about Charter. I don't even know anybody that's ever had experience with them. You know, whether they're.
I know it's going to be Comcast or what.
Yeah, I just hope we have good quality because from time to time, Time Warner's been. You know, I can't complain on some things. You know, on others I can. But, you know, the quality's been pretty good so far.
And I get all the premium channels.
You do?
I have all the Encore channels, HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, the movie channel, Stars.
I had them for a while, not everybody, but I had a HBO and a few. But after a while, I wasn't even watching it. Just was extra money going down the drain, it seemed like.
Plus, I get high definition TV, too.
Yep, you got to have that. Just got my mother just got that. She's getting used to it. I think she likes it now. It's a lot different than the old.
You remember TCI was around?
Pardon?
You remember TCI cable?
Not really.
Used to be back in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah. What about that? You mean?
And Philadelphia bought for them, and they changed Cablevision.
Yeah.
All that Time Warner stuff.
Yeah, Delphia was on the county. Cablevision, they were in the city, and then they got bought out by, who was it? It was...
Philadelphia.
Yeah, they went through so many changes, and now we're with... This Time Warner thing, it's all about... Comcast, I think, wants...
Cable. It's like I said, all that money they put through, and they're adding like a new channels on my guide, and my cable box is rebooted like on channel 2.
Yeah, that's what it's doing. Mine is doing that too. Is your TV booting a lot at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're making a lot of changes. That's why I was having trouble, and anybody's listening, if you put an HDMI cable in there, that takes care of a lot of the problems.
Right. And my cable bill's been going to Lakeshore, and it gets paid on time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm glad I've been watching you guys, and I was concerned about you guys.
Okay. Hey, thanks for calling.
And I would just keep you company, keep on touch with cable-wise.
Okay, you can be my cable guy, okay?
All right.
Hey, thanks for calling.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Yep, Mike, tell Mike back in the back room, we're now back on Ustream again. Go ahead, caller.
It looks like you're ready for the monastery.
Monastery?
You're the man in black.
Oh, yeah,
It almost looks like a Navy peacoat.
Yeah, the trouble is when you're retired, sort of.
Yeah.
And you got to do the washing, things don't get done like it was.
Do like I do.
What's that?
Throw everything together.
That's pretty much what I've been doing. But this is nice and warm. This is a nice sweater.
Your navy whites will come out gray.
Hey, I'm still not. My wife tells me whites and colors.
Oh yeah.
And then she tells me there's shades that are allowed to be in with the white. And
full load, medium load, short load, fat load. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a while to get used to doing that.
Hey, it's like everything else. You get better with time.
I think I'm going to come over to your house and bug you because I get bored at home.
That's all right. You can talk to Jim Thompson's buddy here.
Who's that?
Rusty.
Oh, okay.
Rusty, the 13-inch Chihuahua that doesn't know he's allowed to walk on 4 legs.
I've been trying to get Ruth to get me I'm not a dog man, but I wanted a either a rhinoceros or a bald eagle.
Yeah, maybe you ought to go for the bald eagle.
That ain't going to happen, you know.
That way you don't have to go to Port Richards then.
There you go.
Yeah, I got a couple things.
Just a couple?
Well, it'll take a little bit of time.
Okay.
I was going over the agenda today on that fuzzy station. You know, everything goes blurry after a couple seconds. I guess they don't want the taxpayer to read it.
What's that? You mean on our channel?
On your computer, on the city's web there.
Oh, wait. Well, DJ said it wasn't. Is it working? You're not on there now, are you?
No, I was just on it, and the only time it comes out clear is if I magnify it up, and then it holds on for a little bit, then it goes fuzzy again. And
because DJ said we had some problem with it. And
it's still there. But as I was going over the agenda, I see that the city is going to approve a contract or something with a stenographer for the zoning board. So much an hour, they're working nights, and so much for days for the first couple hours. And
you mean a court stenographer?
Yeah, no, for the zoning board.
Yeah. You mean the one they use for their meetings?
Yes. It doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean?
Well, you got all those people on the zoning board. You know, you've got a head of the zoning board. You got an assistant.
Right.
Like everything else, why don't you get a secretary on that board to copy everything?
Oh, when you use a stenographer, I don't think they. You know, I didn't look at that. Is that a contract? I
don't think it's a contract. They're just going to okay for, I forget the name of the outfit, to come in and do that. Mm-hmm. But they meet, what?
It sounds like, they also hire attorneys from time to time.
They hire an attorney. You have solicitors up there, and they're representing the city.
Yeah, but I think, you know, John, I'm not positive. I don't claim to know the answer to this, but I think you have to have your own attorney.
The zoning board has to have their own attorney?
I think so. Now, I'm not positive. I can check on that. I do know the stenographer, like when council hires a stenographer.
That's only for major zoning hearings.
Yeah, that's all.
What about minor ones?
I don't think they have to have a stenographer all the time.
Well,
they do take minutes, okay?
I didn't see if it was for a particular for the whole year, but I did notice it was $150 an hour for the first couple hours, then it drops down to $40.
Well, I think that's a contract for the year.
So,
in other words, when they hired this stenographer, I think what you're reading is, and I got to read I'll take a look when I get off the air here. I think they're doing the same thing they do with the attorney. They hire an attorney and we do too on the pension boards. We pay them like, right now the going rate is about $125 to $150 for an attorney, okay? Uh-huh. And then what you put in there is that, however the contract is, like sometimes with the zoning boards, they'll say for...
first couple hours and then it drops.
And then for so many hours total for the year. Mm-hmm. And then after that, the rate goes up or, you know...
I see.
But they don't. I've only seen them use a stenographer when they have like an official hearing, you know. And you can't use a secretary because you have to have a
outside. Yeah.
Well, you have to have that format that's legal. I don't. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but it's just like.
And then again, let's go to the next subject here. I see that Curtis Jones is going to recommend McIsaac for the Erie Water Authority.
That's
I know he lives in Mill Creek.
Well, that's a Mill Creek. Mill Creek. It's a.
Well, why is Curtis Jones going to submit him as going to the Water Authority?
Well, each councilman from time to time gets a pick.
No, but I think he should be getting somebody from the city. Let the supervisors handle that when they make their agreement.
You know what I'm not sure about, and I just say, like I say, I didn't know that was up until I got a couple phone calls. Does it say if he's a Mill Creek appointment or?
It says it's Curtis Jones's appointment.
okay, then he could pick anybody he wants, unless there's a couple picks on that board, John, that have to be out of the city of Erie.
Yes.
That happened when we went to the authority mode.
True.
And the county gets a couple picks too, just like.
Oh, I understand that, but the whole thing here.
Even the airport authority now has.
Haran Kunku is recommending somebody for the authority.
For the water authority?
Airport. One term is expired.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't recall the name right now. My computer, I just shut it off.
Well, when my pick comes up, you want to be on something?
No, I had my fill.
You know, oh, that's right. You were on the
I was on the
towing review board.
And it was like mushroom trying to come up to a sidewalk. There's very many people know there's a towing review board and the whole thing there.
Yeah, well, you know, I was wondering, something came up the other day, and I was thinking it might have been, it was either zoning issues or parking tickets. Mm-hmm. And there is no review board, you know.
For parking?
Like, well, parking tickets, you go to the district justice, you know. But
with there, you have to pay your fine and then appeal it.
But something came up one time where I was thinking, I said, it's a shame they don't have a review board like they did for towing. You know, somebody complained. You guys met very infrequently, though.
Well, the time I was on it, we only had 3 or 4 people that complained.
Yeah, that's
But that's the whole thing there.
There's an idea, John. You know, some people have said we should be in the. I don't know if we'd ever want to do it. You know, some cities run their own towing business.
True, but then again, you have to have a wrecker.
Yep, insurance.
Insurance. You have to have an impounding yard. You'd have to have somebody available to get these people their cars when they want them right away.
Yeah, we get it was one that, you know, last week a lot of people had suggestions, and people come up with that one from time to time, and I said, you know, the only place we could really, well, you could do it like off of the city garage, you know.
Yeah, but then you'd have to have security and everything else.
Oh yeah, that's a bad part. It comes with a cost, you know.
It comes with a cost, and is it going to be that efficient?
It's like the asphalt plant. You know, somebody was asking me, you didn't ask me, did you?
No, I was asking you whatever happened to our old heater.
I mean the asphalt plant, yeah.
The asphalt to put into the potholes.
Yeah, ever since they started contracting out, that went it seems to me that's been gone a long time. I
know that it was gone for a while. Then the state had one they were using where they'd fire up the hole and get it dry and then put the blacktop down and put it in. And that seemed to be working out pretty well.
I see they're raising the price on the turnpike again, too.
That will constantly go up and down. You know, they're crying they don't have the money for bridging and all that, but they increase the sales tax on the gasoline. But then again, all these, like the mayor took $150,000 of that money to buy a snowplow, which is not in the specs to do that.
I think it is.
I don't think it's in the specs for equipment. It's in the specs to repair the roads and stuff.
Well, with the liquid fuel money, you know we pay the electric bill with it.
Well, that's not right.
Yeah, it's permitted use. We've been audited by the state. They have no problem with it. I think it was Joyce Savacchio.
She bought compactors.
But I think that was with a grant. But
the grant and still.
But I think I'm trying to think if she was the first mayor to use liquid fuels to pay, street lighting.
Yeah.
Which is permissible. You can repair roads. You can buy street lights or equipment. I think.
Yeah, but she didn't take an $8 million bond that was supposed to do that.
But either way, John, I
understand.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that every mayor's been comfortable with using liquid fuels to pay the electric bill.
It's true. You talk about garbage and all that. I called the code enforcement office today and got Rob Bush's answering machine. That area on 38th and Page again, Sunday day, they put their garbage out. I'm going to start putting my garbage out.
You're talking about that same apartment you turned into me?
Yeah. I'm going to put my garbage out come Sunday and let it sit there all week.
Well, what I'm going to do, when I leave the show here, I'm going upstairs to Public Works. Did you call up there?
I called the code enforcement.
Okay, well, I'm going to go up to see Public Works.
And I got Rob Bush's answering machine.
I'm going to talk to either Mr. Mulvihill or Mr. Mitchell, and we'll find out.
This has been going on for over 7 months.
And it's not the, there's a couple other, I got a guy, I got complaints on the west side too about a gentleman doing the same thing.
I mean, they put it out Sunday morning or afternoon, and there it sits blowing into the street.
Yeah, a rule is what, 24 hours, I think.
That's the rule, 24 hours.
Yep.
Unless, if you're going out of town, you can put it out there early. And, hey, I'm paying my garbage fees, but the whole thing here, I don't put it out a week in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start putting it out on Sunday. And that's what I left on the message. I said, if these people down there put it out on Sunday, I'm putting mine out on Sunday and add to it like they do. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I'm gandering.
Well, tell me what happens with your complaint with code enforcement.
I listed my number, and I'll probably get that blah, 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 blah baloney. And where is Mr. Zimmerman? Why doesn't he answer that phone?
He didn't answer for you?
No, say Rob. I got Rob Bush's. Of course, his secretary or the secretary probably put it on to him, and of course she's screening the calls. And when I told her what my complaint was, she said, I'll connect you. And then I got Rob Bush.
Well, Rob's got that area up there, so.
Well, I understand, and he'll call back, I'll tell you that much. He's not like the rest of them down there that say they'll call back and they won't call back. But other than that, we have a nasty day out here, and the streets are going to be slick because the city doesn't use calcium. They use rock salt, and rock salt doesn't...
Well, we have some calcium. We used it in the past.
Liquid calcium?
They had it. I'm trying to think. They had a blue tint to the salt.
Well, that's got a little bit of it, but the calcium that I use for my driveway and everything, it's white, and it will melt up to below zero.
Yeah, I think they called it calcium chloride, or... I remember years ago when I worked for the Park Authority, there were like...
white pellets.
You weren't allowed to touch that other pile.
Yeah,
that pile was for the streets, like.
Yeah, that's regular rock salt.
No, I mean they would give me rock salt for the parking lots.
Yeah, but not for sidewalks and everything.
Yeah, but they didn't even load us up with the. They used to have 2 batches in the old days.
Yeah.
They had a special batch that they used when the temperature dropped.
Below freezing, yes.
Right, and the state uses a brine system, isn't it?
They use a brine, and they got heated bridges now. You see those great big, they look like dishes alongside the road?
Hey, I got a question. Maybe somebody can tell me. It just crossed my mind. That one that's out there by 12th and Bayfront Highway.
Over 79?
Well, no, the one that's Bayfront Highway, that bridge right by these the buildings that are dilapidated.
Yeah.
That bridge is supposed to have it's supposed to be activated in icy weather, like.
Yeah, they've got sensors out there. They have one over here by
Barron?
Norcross Road.
Yeah.
Where you see a little building off to the right if you're going north?
Yeah.
That's the control room.
Ah, so they do work then.
Yeah, they have them on 79 and everywhere else, and when it gets below freezing, the sensors kick in.
It sprays?
I think they have little, underground sprayers like you do in lawns and everything.
Yeah.
And they hit it out.
Well, let's hope people drive careful, because we had some bad accidents last night again.
Hills up here don't get too, you don't get a lot of visitors at your house in the wintertime, do you?
No, just around Christmas, that's it.
Just around Christmas. But it's going to be very interesting. The way these things are going with health care and gasoline taxes, and we're going to have a new governor, and we'll see what we get from him.
Yep.
We probably won't get anything because everything will go to the second nation's capital. That's Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's that is the Pennsylvania capital, really,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes.
But other than that, it looks like it's snowing again out there. So as long as those guys are careful out there.
Yep.
Okay, we'll let somebody else get a shot in there. Maybe we stirred the pot a little bit.
And if not, you can always call back later.
Okay. Talk to you later.
See you, John. So, yep, John, John and I will check on that with Public Works to see what the heck is going on. And a gentleman brought up last week about leasing of equipment. That'll be a good topic when council meets early in the year here. We do have a meeting Wednesday night. And if you are experiencing some difficulties with how the billing is coming out, feel free to call any member of council so that we can try to correct it. It was our intention not to have this kind of problems happening. Unfortunately, best laid plans, things do go wrong sometimes. And as I said last week, I attended the airport meeting, and that was very productive, and they seem to be progressing well. And looking around town, we got a new business actually. We had one of the new fast food restaurants opened up, a place called Moe's. That's good news. Some time ago, we were actually on 12th in Pittsburgh. We were supposed to actually have the Starbucks coffee on the city side of the road, but when the economy tanked, a lot of projects that were planned kind of hit the dust, and that's kind of sad. But we got a new restaurant, I guess, downtown called Gigliotti's. I think if I said it right. That's always good news. We like to see more businesses opening up. Sometimes they don't, they don't make up for the ones that have left. But let's hope, other businesses come into the city, and maybe someday we can even get a movie theater. It's kind of strange that as big as Erie is, we only have one movie theater in the whole city. As I said, I got some guests planned for the future, and one of the guests I'd like to bring on will be with all the violence we have in the city, it seems like, and I was going to have Mrs. Arrington on here and just have her give her thoughts on how she sees things. And as I said, we always keep the podium open if anybody from the administration or city police department want to come on board. We'd be glad to talk to them. We will be having Bill Stafford from the Erie explosion on here one of these days as football draws near. And I know with all the concern about the Otters, it's still good to know that we have local ownership with the Bayhawks and explosion. And hopefully, maybe someday with the Seawolves. That's always the trick to keeping them in town. A gentleman asked last week about the paving list, and I'm still working on that, and we'll try to get that list so that you can see the last 5 to 8 years of which roads have been fixed. As you're driving around, it's amazing the damage done by this, by the limited winter we've had. But it's not just city streets; it's parking lots and different places. It's just entirely hard to believe the amount of holes and weather damage that we have. I have a call in to Councilman Brenneman talking about veterans issues, so I hope to have a report either next show or the show after that. And it's pretty good. He had some ideas about, finding homes for veterans, trying to get them to move back into the area, into the city. And there's also a plan to have a veterans court over at the county to relate to problems associated with veterans and how they sometimes get into trouble. And it's a good idea. I think far too often when we send young women and men off to war and off to serve the country, they develop issues that need to be addressed. And I don't think that's been the case. I know there's some talk also about starting a special court or review for zoning issues, and that has some merit, and those would be some suggestions coming before council also. And as John was talking about, authorities hiring attorneys and solicitors and accountants, a lot of times by law they have to do that, and you really want an independent viewpoint. And not saying that the solicitor is not independent, but the solicitor can't possibly, represent individual boards who have issues that may be in conflict with the city's viewpoint, and that's why authorities are independent. The other day, I was reading a couple articles, and what really comes to mind is that there's starting to be some. I think the Times did a story on the nonprofit situation, and long range. That's something that we're going to have to attack. And I know it sounds like we're just talking all the time, but it has to be at the state level. It's not like the legislators don't know that. I mean, the city's been pounding the League of Cities has been pounding various legislators for years. The numbers, unfortunately, are in favor that there are more suburban and rural legislators than there are urban. And as long as that's the case, a lot of issues that concern the cities will never get solved. But we can no longer go on as we are. Our tax base has eroded somewhat. We can't. In the old days, we could build our way out of budget problems, and that's not the case anymore. Some of the suburbs can do that. They got building projects, and they'll tout how they held the line, but they're holding the line because they got more revenue coming in from other sources. We don't have that luxury any longer. And I heard there was some talk on a local talk show about, like for instance, police. Now, you'll hear debate that, yes, our police are doing a great job, but we could always use more police. I really believe that. I believe we could use more firemen. The issue becomes how do you pay for them, and that's why long range, I think we have to get some support from the nonprofits. The city as a whole gets no money, meaningful money, even from the gaming casino. Go ahead, caller.
You're talking about revenues.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Now, you've been on the pension board and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there's an employee that draws their pension, and if the employee becomes deceased and he has a surviving spouse, mm-hmm. Does that pension still go on, or is there a percentage of the pension that is given?
Well, it depends on the pension.
Let's say if it's a police officer or fireman.
Okay, my dad was a policeman, so I'll give you that example. My mother receives what he would have received.
The whole thing?
Yes.
And he had to make no contributions?
He did make some contributions. Of course, in those days, it was very minimal.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, and it was For a while there, the police actually, you remember, John, they sold ball tickets
Yes.
to actually fund the pension plan. So that was a late developing, phenomena. But
But see, it's like with me, if I die or whatever, I took a 50% option when I took my pension, and they took my 50% and put it in, let's say, a revolving fund account that keeps increasing. And if I die, my wife gets that 50% of my pension until she dies.
it's strange. We don't have as many options as other government agencies, and I think that is explained to me that was by state law, a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But the way it works now, police and fire do contribute.
Very little.
No, it's like 6%, I think
No,
it is.
that's very little.
Yeah, well, compared to the private sector, yes. And like I say, those are negotiated issues,
See, I knew a police officer. He died, and his wife got his total pension.
Right.
He remarried, and that person died. Now, is she receiving two pensions?
Wait a minute, say that again now. He
Police officer.
right, he was married to,
He was married to, let's say, Jane Doe.
okay,
He died. She got his total pension.
right.
She remarried another police officer.
Not any longer, that's been taken care of.
As long as it's been before that, in other words, she's still getting two pensions.
That loophole has been taken out.
Okay.
Yeah, there was an issue like that. It becomes even more complicated if there's a divorce involved or a separation. Then those issues come into being too.
It'd be a real hassle.
But at one point, you can lose your if the pensioner dies, and I think if the woman remarries.
Now they stop it?
Not marrying a policeman. That used to be an old loophole, but I think I'm pretty sure that was cleared up. But like if my mother remarried, I think she would lose hers.
Now? Well, I don't think she would now.
Now here's the difference with.
She should be grandfathered.
But I think back then, if she got remarried, she lost it under the old rules, I think.
I don't know.
Here's a good one now. If something happens to me, okay, and now I'm talking about the non-uniform plan. This would be like the Teamsters and AFSCME, or elected officials and what we call at-will employees.
You don't get a pension unless you have at least 12 years, right?
Right, that's what they call partial, yeah. I'll give you an example. You would, after 12 years, and our pension is different than police and fire. So we would get, if you were a full employee,
Get a percentage, right?
if you went 20 years, you would get one half of your best 5 years or your highest salary, okay?
Yes.
So you get half of that. Now, if something happens to you, okay, the pensioner, your widow would only get half of yours, not the full amount. You follow me, John?
Yeah, I follow you.
So in other words, if you made, let's say, I'll make it real simple. You made $40,000, okay?
Yeah.
And when you retired, you would get $20,000. But if you die, your widow would get $10,000.
Now that's $20,000, but you still receive your benefits, right?
No.
No benefits, no health care or anything?
Oh, no. What most places are doing now, even the school district, once you reach 65.
You go Medicare.
Yep. Yeah, at least with the O&E plan, that's the way it works.
That's true, and a lot of people don't realize that if you're on Medicare now, they take your money first out of your Social Security check.
Right. Now, here's a good. You asked me about vesting. Now, if you're vested, you instead of getting 50%, you get 12/20ths. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is that would be 60% of the 50%. Mm-hmm. So but then because you're short 8 years, okay, you have to pay back a set amount of money for 8 years. I think it's 3%.
3% for up till for 8 years.
Right, until you get to your 20
Your
mark.
pension that you're taking for 12 years.
Yep. Now, so it's,
How long does that go on? The rest of your life?
well, no, here's a prime example. I was vested at 12, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I did not make my 20 because,
Now you're going to be a councilman, so now you'll be up to 16.
no, councilmen are not eligible for the pension.
You're not?
No, it's, that, they took that away. I'm trying to think whether it was Mario, Jim Thompson, that group, they made councilmen what they call part-time. And because of that, you're not eligible for the pension.
But if you're not eligible for the pension if you're part-time, you shouldn't be eligible for the health care benefits.
Well, that's something that is considered a benefit, and it was decided years ago that they would still get the health insurance. But your pension is good. No, that was some of the last people to draw a pension were, I think Mel was eligible and Pat Capabianca when he was on here.
Uh-huh.
But, John, people made a lot. I remember one time the media, they were arguing with me about, a councilman get a pension, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
$5,000 a year.
Well, you get $6,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're not council president, that becomes $7,500.
$100, yeah.
Well, let's say you were just a regular councilman for 12 years, and that's what your term limit is at now.
Yeah.
Guys like Mario and the old guys, they went 20-some years
True.
until they passed that rule after they had their 20 in, So you got $6,000. So you would get $3,000, correct?
True.
And then you would take 60% of that.
Uh-huh.
And, figure it out. What do you get? $1,800.
It's true.
So divided by 12, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you get about, what was it? Am I getting $150 a month? Does that sound right?
That's about close to it.
Yeah, I argued with a reporter once. I said, are you kidding me? Are you worried about that? We got bigger issues than that,
That's true. Now, the
But I'm
whole
kinda,
employment force down there,
Pardon?
the city employees, other than police and fire, are they on Social Security? Does the city eliminate that totally?
No, you do pay Social Security as AFSCME and Teamsters, and also, and in that group is also what they call at-will employees.
At-will employees.
And then
mayor's boys,
and then your elected officials.
Uh-huh.
So we all pay Social Security.
Except for the fire and police.
Yeah, and I think they have an option if they. I'm not sure how that works for them now. Whether they have an option, a lot of them work part-time jobs and stuff.
Oh, that's so down in the end they're paying into Social Security so they can get Social Security.
Yeah, because it was for some people. It was very difficult. Like when my dad was, he hadn't worked for a number of years, so then he was working part-time jobs.
Yeah, a lot of them did. A lot of them still do.
Think about it. If you don't get the quarters in, all that money you paid stays with the Social Security, right?
True. The pension plan. Do
Yeah.
they get cost of living every year?
Police and fire do, but not O&E or Teamsters or.
Only when the board feels that it's been such a long time for John Q hasn't had a raise in 10 or 15 years. It's time to get a raise.
The last time they had a COLA was the last year of Rick Filippi's term.
Uh-huh.
And because I call it the blue collar and white collars do not get a COLA, and police have a double system. One is prior to 85, and there's post 85, and how they do that is very different for each one.
So many different technicalities. You need a lawyer to figure them out.
Oh, hey, John, I'm telling you, with pensions now, you now have these court-ordered quadros, and you have issues on all kinds of things. The people that serve on the board, they do a very good job, but I'm telling you, things have changed over the years.
They want everybody to get into a 401k, and they're going to take your money and invest it, and you have no say to it. The The only time you get your 401k money is if you retire and you're under 70, and you want to take your money, you can roll it somewhere or whatever, and you go from there.
I think in the future, I'm looking at, I was looking at PSERS, the state system for retirees.
Yeah.
For teachers and employees. They're talking about some, they're starting to,
They're starting to wake up.
with the young people coming in, the new teachers and stuff, they have to pay a lot higher rate on their pensions now.
Well, years ago, they said be a teacher because you get a wonderful salary.
Mm-hmm.
You're off 3 months of the year, and it's spaced out for the whole year that you get your check for the whole year. But then again, they're getting a wonderful pension, they're getting wonderful health care, and they're hardly putting anything into it. The old ones.
I'll tell you this, well, they raise it now to young people,
Well, I understand.
And it's probably still not, it's still not going to make people in the community happy,
Well, I don't think I'd want to be a teacher today. I wouldn't want to be a police officer today.
No, and you know what? If I was still working, under the pension plan, and they said to me I'd have to pay more, I'd be okay with that.
Well, yeah. See, where I worked, you were only allowed to contribute so much.
Yeah.
Because they match what you put in.
It's pretty well. Here, what happens in a public plan, you take all the money that the workers pay in, you calculate the money you gain on your investments, okay?
Yes.
And any money that comes in from, state grants or whatever. And at one time we had a couple bond issues, those proceeds, but that's gone now. So, you take all the money that's coming in, and then the actuary has to calculate the liability side.
That's true.
And he has to use some assumptions, and he comes up with what he thinks it's going to cost the plan in the future. And then every year, this is why the mayor was, he brought it out he brought out this year to council that each year there's a bill for the pension that the city has to front.
That's true.
Now this year was $10 million, okay?
Next year it's going to be more.
Well, sure. Let me tell you this, John. When I left office, and I met with the actuary every year, sometimes I'd meet with him every couple months, and I would talk to him, and he educated me real well on how the plan is figured, from his aspect, how he comes up with numbers.
Yep.
And I mean, he warned us back then that it's going up. Okay, he can't give you an exact figure, but he can come pretty close.
Well, that's like me. People probably don't like what I was saying all the time, that you should be increasing the tax every year and not wait till it's a political year or whatever. Every year you should increase it a little bit.
I'm glad you said that because it came up during the budget sessions. If you ever listening to them, there's at least 2 or 3 of us that, now we can't bind.
You can only go to a limit, then you have to go to the court.
Well, I mean, here's the problem. We can't bind any mayor or future council, because if we pass an ordinance, they'd repeal it if they didn't like it,
True.
But we wanted to sit down and tell the administration that it's okay in our mind,
A slight tax increase would not hurt.
Well, if it has to be, because you know what? I mean, look at John. We played a game with electric, gas. It goes up, it goes down, right?
That's true.
Everything goes up. Your mortgage is adjusted because your taxes are going up, and to think that everything's going to stay flat is like I said earlier in the show, we can't build our way out of this problem because we're not like Mill Creek and Summit where they talk about how they don't raise taxes, but the revenue increases just by the development that happens,
Yeah, but they got more developing going on out there.
And you and I were unfortunately young men when our golden age was happening.
Sure, and that's the whole thing here. There's too many nonprofits, and you got this pilot program. They're not putting enough into the pilot program.
No, I'll tell you, the two biggest one come to mind is Hammond and Vincent.
That's true, and the rest of them, they throw a token bone.
Oh, I'd like to get Hammett.
You got Hammett, you got Mercyhurst, you got Lecombe.
Well, I'd like to get Lecombe, Mercyhurst, and Gannon, at least those three. And, we won't even approach the diocese yet or anything like that, but we need to sit down and tell them, hey, you know what?
You've got Gannon giving 3 or 4 SUVs.
Hey, and you know what?
That's peanuts.
We can, you know what? We can buy the SUVs.
That's true.
Here's what I want out of them. I want out of them a promise, a pilot that you'll hire, whatever the number comes up to, 6, 9 policemen, okay? Now.
Not for just one shot and say, here.
No, I'm saying every year, just like Hammett. Okay, Hammett pays in lieu of taxes, right?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to mention taxes around nonprofits. So you know what? Don't call it a tax. I'm saying call it a public safety contribution fee under a pilot agreement. Guess what? Tell us you're going to give us X amount of dollars every year so that we can plan on that and we can hire and put stipulations on that gift, okay?
True.
That we have to hire so many police and firemen.
It's true.
If they did that, because you know what? You can't just hire one policeman. You have to hire 3 for a shift.
That's right.
For a day like that. But you know what? Think of what we could do with, another 10, 15 police officers.
Well, at all these nonprofits, there should be a service charge for safety.
I agree with you, and I think...
Well, they can be nonprofits, but let them pay a service charge for safety.
Well, I'm in favor, a good friend of mine here tells me, calm down, and, we're bringing them to the table. Well, you know what?
Bringing them to the table is not enough.
No, I'll tell you what, I'm going to...
Have any food on the table, why bring them to the table?
I'm going to resurrect the old idea about charging the students again to see, that'll bring some pressure. How about doing that like other towns do,
That's true, and you ought to take a look at what these various institutions, what they are selling in their cafeterias, what goods they're selling
Right.
all throughout the schools.
And John, how about the authorities anteing up? The housing authority does.
They sure do. The parking authority does.
Right. How about the convention authority and others anteing up a little bit?
That's true. So, we'll get off here. You're running out of town, maybe.
Yeah, we are. It was kind of a cold day like this. Not too many people called up, but
They're probably all snuggling up now. They know their gas is going to go down like 8 or 9 cents here come August.
When DJ's not here, John, there's an empty seat for you.
Yeah,
We'll give you a mask if that's what you're worried about.
But even with DJ down there, I come down there. I don't care if he's there or not. So, it's him and I can do a rumba.
There you go.
And now my bumblebee is going to go off to the side, saying my other team got dumped. But I still got one more in there.
Which other team?
The Pats.
Hey, I heard there was a big flood yesterday in Allegheny County.
I imagine. They got a lot of rain. My sister called.
Oh, no, not rain. It was coming out of Heinz Field.
Oh, yeah, that was all tears. But you talk about the floods, they'll probably be playing in snow next week up in New England. My sister said it was pouring like crazy up there.
You remember when the championship game was played in an actual stadium?
Only one comes to my mind.
What, Green Bay?
No, not Green Bay. The Ice Bowl, the real Ice Bowl.
Oh, that was Green Bay, what?
Oh, when Baltimore beat New York in overtime.
Oh, that one.
That one.
Yeah, but you know what, John? When they used to play the game in the actual stadium of one of the teams.
Oh, yeah, Green Bay, Chicago.
It made it interesting, didn't it?
True did. You know who won the first Super Bowl, don't you?
New York Jets.
No, Lombardi and his boys.
Nope, I'm going to correct you.
No,
I'm going to correct you. The first 2 Green Bay championships, okay, were not called the Super Bowl.
Well, Green Bay was the first one, wasn't it?
This is where I argue with Steeler fans. I said Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II were called something else. It was
It was the NFL championship.
the World Championship or something. And then some sports writer coined it after Joe Namath won, called the Super Bowl. So, if you want to play technicalities, I tell them, because they always tell me the NFL didn't start before Super Bowl, but it did,
Yeah, well, they had their championship games.
Right. There was an NFL before that, but, the first one was really Green Bay, but,
You know the best thing I liked about Lombardi?
What's that?
Oh, they have all these playbooks and all this stuff on their arms and that. He would tell you where he's going to run the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it.
Let me guess. Jimmy Taylor straight ahead, Paul Horning to the right.
That's right. And he'd tell you they were going to do it, and that's all the plays they cared about.
Execution.
You know, you had old Bart Starr and Horning, you know, he was a great one anyways.
And he had that...
He did it all.
I think Boyd Dowler was at Super Bowl 1 or 2. He was almost tanked.
Yep.
He was plastered.
Yeah, so today, I don't know. Did you watch any of the game with Dallas last night?
No, I didn't. I was...
They had a pass interference call where the defensive back wasn't playing the ball. He was just running in front of the player. They called pass interference. They picked it up and disclaimed it then. And the announcer said, well, these are all new officials. They haven't worked with each other. A foul is a foul.
Yeah, what they're supposed to... I thought they're supposed to have the best crews at the games.
I think it was a hometown decision.
Yeah.
And there's old Christie, the mayor of New Jersey. Owns his box up there with a red shirt on, and they're hugging. Give me a break. And I don't like Dallas.
When you see LaCourcic, tell him about Christie. We watch him get fired up.
I think he was going to Google it.
Hey, John, have a good day.
Bye-bye.
And with that, Mike has given me the signal. Tune in again here next Monday. Hopefully we'll get some callers. It was a little dead today. We'll be back Monday, though. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, Kaz. Jeff Moffett calling.
Yeah, we're off the air, but go ahead.
Wondered, what do we got to do to get a
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.
Hello?